After losing its mother, a lion cub grew up. They are now inseparable from a dog. It was a calm evening in South Africa, when everything goes wrong at Kruger National Park changed, and crickets were the only noises heard. The distant calls and tweeting of nocturnal creatures. At which point Ranger David Miller heard of feeble cries that weren't quite seem like any animal he was familiar with as David scanned the tall buildings with his flashlight. Grass noticed something there. Two people shuddered in the light beam, little eyes staring back at him as Hart's feeble cries became more intense. Sank as he approached. Separating the David discovered a sight in the grass that would never leave him. A lion cub forever. Less than 3 weeks old, curled up, and its golden fur was filthy and trembling. Matted, making it difficult for the small one to pull its head. But it persisted in making those frantic pleas for assistance. David was aware that his trained eyes counted each second, looked about for indications of a mother, pride, or a lion close to lion cubs. This young people never leave their moms. The tracks revealed a tragic tale of indications. Greater hardship and more severe evidence of poaching activity in the vicinity of the cubs' cries increased. Progressively weaker after 15 years of David has never experienced wildlife rescue. He was aware that time passed so slowly without this little fighter's mother, had just hours to live without any sense of dignity, and David made the decision with Dawn still hours away. Worst decision of his professional life to delete "I'm really sorry" wild lion from its home. He wrapped it lovingly and whispered, "Little one," the youngster in his coat, "but I swear to you isn't your story's conclusion." Little did David was aware that this would result in one among the most amazing creatures' friendships ever recorded. The time David returned to his familiar truck. His hands trembled with each minute as the small cub lay there as he turned on the engine. Thus he's still wearing his jacket, and taking Small the rescue facility was a long way away. Driving in the dark park for 40 minutes, roads linger there. David, my tiny friend, said that he had never driven that quickly, and he contacted the rescue center on his life's "I'm bringing in a newborn lion" for his radio. He's not feeling well, so please be prepared. Dr. Sarah was already waiting when they arrived. Her expression dropped when she realized how ill the cub. Brought him inside quickly, she said. He was hurried to their emergency department, a tiny, cozy spot where they provided assistance. The cub, an ill animal, really needed water. His small frame was so frail that he was unable to even cry no longer, because the team worked like a family. With each member performing, they did their part to save him. Unique water via a small tube, till they chose to assist him in becoming stronger. Leo, as David and Sarah called him. Other rangers looked after Leo. What his family discovered made them sadly. They noticed tire traces in the bullet rounds on the ground that are empty of soil. There were nasty individuals and poachers there. Had removed Leo's mother, leaving him alone. 3 days and nights spent alone every 2 hours. The group remained with Leo. Someone would feed him day and night, a bottle of warm milk. But Leo he would weep uncontrollably, missing the warmth of his mother's fur and her heartbeat. Maria, who was beside him at the time, assisted tend to the animals that are considered. One morning, she said, "Hey, what?" Regarding Ruby, her golden retriever. Was Ruby, who was the one with the puppies. She was the sweetest dog anyone had ever seen, even kind to the young monkeys and deer that occasionally visited the center of the. At first, the team wasn't sure whether to put a baby lion with a canine that appeared too insane, but they were at a loss for ideas. To alleviate young Leo's discomfort when they took Leo to see Ruby, and they all held Ruby, looked up from her bed to catch their breath. As she was nourishing her pups, she smelled the air, and the most incredible, she began wagging her when something happened. Tail. She gave Leo the impression that he was simply really another one of her puppies. Leo was carefully placed next to Ruby. Everyone was on guard and prepared to act quickly if anything went wrong. But Ruby just began using her to clean Leo's face, tongue, as she had done with her puppies, and Leo immediately cuddled up to them, against her cozy fur, and dozed off. Sarah felt safe at last. Something she couldn't believe her eyes throughout all of her years of assistance creatures she had never seen before. Would you take a look at that? She muttered in an attempt to keep them from waking. It appears that Leo recently discovered a new mom. No one realized at the time, but this was only the beginning of this little line, and this the best was about to emerge from the sweet dog of companions, and their tale would create people all throughout the world. Our grinning from Ruby showed everyone what it was on the first day. Means to possess a mother's affection. She ignored the fact that Leo wasn't a puppy. Observed a baby that was in constant need of love. Ruby would first check on Leo in the morning. She would even give birth to her own puppies before giving him a soft nose bump as a way of saying good. Leo, the morning tiny one, was first timid. He would observe Ruby's puppies from behind Ruby while they tumbled and played nearby, but Ruby's puppies were interested. Regarding their new sibling, they would visit to Leo tails, wagging in an attempt to catch him one day to play with the tiniest puppy they brought his favorite and called him a friend. Leo gazed at the rope toy and then at Buddy. Then everyone returns to the toy, held their breath while watching, and then Leo extended his small paw and struck at the ice. Was just like that on the rope. Shattered quickly, making it impossible to distinguish Leo. Aside from the puppies, but he was rather than fluffy brown, he is golden. Mastered the game of puppy chasing toys and balls, but occasionally his lion side would reveal that he made an effort to, as if they were prey, stalk the toys. My moments of making everyone giggle were the most charming to observe. Despite Leo's his own unique milk bottle, which he would constantly try nursing like Ruby's puppies. Did Ruby mind that she would lie there, allowing Leo to believe he was obtaining milk, only to feel as though one of her infant's naps turned into a Ruby's puppies would all be family. Leo would squeeze them as they piled up for sleep. They'd wind up in the center, what the rescue crew referred to as a puppy paw's tails in a large puddle, along with one Leo pulled up tiny Lon C, who was snoozing. Amazing dog behaviors that brought joy to all. When he was pleased, he would wag his tail, something that lions often don't do. Once attempted to bark, but it came out as a Ruby, a humorous cross between a wolf and a roar. Would say, "Nice try, sweetie," to him, and perform an additional facial cleaning on him. Ruby's bedtime every night was the best part. Would collect all of her infants, puppies, and lion cubs into their large, cozy bed. She would kiss them all good night, keeping Leo close for last. Leo would cuddle loudly, purring just beneath Ruby's chin. The purr was audible across the entire room. Stated everything. I'm safe, I'm at home, and adored the rescue crews call them the jumbled family. But observing Leo and Ruby together didn't seem to. Nothing was muddled. It was just love. The type that doesn't give a damn about your appearance or your origins. Maria, who Ruby was first proposed as Leo's foster mother. To put it simply, love speaks for itself. Ruby and Leo may not speak the same language. Similar animal communication, but their hearts do, but sometimes that's all. Days that mattered became weeks, and as the weeks became into months, Leo wasn't so small. No longer frightened cub. He was developing into a baby lion, growing larger and more powerful daily. But one thing remained constant. The brightness of his eyes each morning, even though Leo grew. When he saw Ruby, despite being taller than Ruby, he behaved like her. He would follow her around, baby. His large paws are attempting to. The amusing thing is that she matches her little steps. Leo was unable to determine if he wanted to chase his balls like a puppy or a lion. After a minute, his dog siblings practiced his line pumping next time. One of the caregivers, Sarah, adored seeing Leo's attempts to mimic everything Ruby performed. When Ruby would snarl at the Leo would try sanctuary birds, but this amusing thing appeared in place of a bark out. Ruby would roar and snarl at the same time. Observe him with such endurance, as a mother observing her child's learning. Leo now ate meat during feeding time like an expanding lion ought to. But he would never stop waiting. Ruby should consume something. He gained knowledge from her relatives. He and Ruby would exchange knowing glances. As a mother pleased with her child's accomplishments, Leo would occasionally attempt to impart etiquette. Ruby is pushing the best with his meat. Pieces with his nose in her direction, just similar to how she used to feed him when he was younger. The most incredible the way Leo behaved throughout his examinations that most young lions must have given medication to help the veterinarian relax, but not Leo while Ruby was present. He would remain still while Dr. Sarah checked. Ruby would place her foot on his Leo, and Big Man would remain as composed as possible. The refuge employees began phoning Ruby as their medical secret weapon. It was usually entertaining to observe Check's playtime. Leo discovered how to manage his expanding strength in the presence of Ruby and his dog siblings. He discovered just how Rough might perform without causing harm to others. When they engaged in a tug-of-war match with the large, Leo would let Ruby win the most of the ropes moment, despite the fact that he could pull the rope away occasionally if he so desired. At the sanctuary, guests would pause and stare with disbelief that there was this large, strong lion as being kind. If children had a dog half his size, they would put their faces up against the audience, watching glass in awe as Leo gently brushed Ruby's tail or offered her a tender butts of love from the sanctuary. Employees had never witnessed something comparable to it. Most of the animals who were saved became separated from there as they grew older, foster parents. But Leo and Ruby's relationship just became stronger, more powerful. When thunderstorms arrived, Leo would still seek comfort from Ruby. He curled up beside her as best he could. Despite the fact that he no longer fits, one of the way they shared was the sweetest thing. Moments of peace in the midday sun that you'd find Ruby's head lying with them. Leo's sprouting mane was their resting place. Didn't have to act, just being it demonstrated that everyone could work together. Family isn't about having the same appearance, or even sharing an animal species, David. It's all about love, pure and simple. The ranger who discovered Leo initially would come visit them regularly. He urged. Observing Leo and Ruby take a snooze one day collectively, some individuals may believe it's strange that a dog and a lawn are great friends. However, seeing them together as the Ruby is the most natural thing in the world. Provided Leo with more than just affection when she provided him a family when he most needed it. Leo is a stunning, fully grown, a golden-maned lion that gleams in the sun. But deep down, he's still Ruby's 6-year-old infant. He towers over his dog mom, weighing over 400 pounds. But he still acts in spite of that. Like a giant puppy all around her. The morning begins in the same manner at the refuge. As quickly as the peaks above the thunderous rumbles of horizon, Leo reverberate throughout the grounds on which he is requesting Ruby when she shows up at the gate of his enclosure. The entire body wiggles with delight. Much like the staff of the refuge had constructed dedicated space for meetings where they can spend time with each other in a safe manner. Everyone enjoys taking early walks, enjoys seeing Leo stroll alongside Ruby, matching her tiny steps to his larger ones he's learned to treat with such gentleness her. When Ruby pauses to take a whiff, fascinatingly, little Leo ceases acting too. To have a strong interest in anything captured her interest, as if he's still imitating his mother's actions similar to how they were when he was little. Ruby has a wonderful ability to talk to each other. Her dog wags its tail and barks as Leo has his head rubs and lion rumbles. But they are able to comprehend one another somehow. Ideal for when Leo gets overly enthused, all Ruby has to do is woof softly. Sound, and he instantly relaxes. When Ruby, who is exhausted, emits a soft purr, and she settles down on his at midday, Big Man. They have what the employees refer to their comedy hour as such. Leo's attempts to act like a dog, even despite his size. He will bring his favorite toy, Ruby, is now a large rubber ball rather than the small ones he played with as a baby. And the amusing thing is he chases after him as he tries to retrieve the ball as a canine would. Yet line instincts take over, and he ultimately attacking it rather than their preferred. It's midday shade time for naps. They have a large stage on which Ruby and Leo typically take a nap together, utilizing man as a cushion. And occasionally, she even says allowing him to give his man a few licks as she did in the past when he was Leo and tiny, and he simply lay there with them. He purred with the happiest expression on his face. Maria, it's loud and audible from a great distance, who continues to serve at the sanctuary, says we are frequently asked by the best individuals if Leo is aware that he is a lion and not a dog. He is aware that he is a lion who just happens to be a mother with a dog, and if that, in my opinion, makes him the luckiest person. The tale of Leo and Ruby, the lion in the world, is more than just a unique friendship. It reveals a significantly larger aspect of the wonderful animal kingdom when guests observe them collectively at the sanctuary. They frequently become teary-eyed when a lion and a dog can love one another as if they were family. Imply that perhaps humanity can learn something. The refuge team utilizes their tale to demonstrate to others how intelligent and recognizing the true feelings of animals when school children visit. They sit with wide eyes as they discover that Ruby was fully aware of baby Leo required affection, solace, and a family. It demonstrates to children that animals, simply as people, are capable of experiencing love and sadness, contentment, and even recognize when someone is in need of assistance. But there's a sadder portion of Leo's tale that must be stated: that he arrived at the sanctuary because his true mother was taken away by poachers. Each year, a lot of young animals lose their family in this manner. The sanctuary staff utilize Leo's tale to illustrate why we must safeguard untamed creatures and their habitats. Visitors are told that Leo was fortunate to find Ruby, but it's better for the baby animals to remain with their biological relatives in the wild. Ruby and Leo have emerged as the greatest educators in sanctuary without even people benefit by trying their unique link. Recognize the importance of animal conservation. Young guests frequently depart with the statement that they also wish to contribute to animal protection. Others return years later as volunteers, recalling the line that expanded belief that he was partially canine. The sanctuary displays images of Leo and Ruby beneath them at their entry. The message is straightforward: love knows no bounds. Limits that neither should be friendly to every living creature. When the sun sets at the refuge, painting the sky in a stunning, we locate Leo in the hues orange and pink. This is Ruby in their favorite location. Their unique time spent together. Leo's a huge figure quietly relaxes close to his golden mane is smaller than Ruby's. Their eyes are bright in the twilight, are partially closed in comfort, simply having fun with. Some individuals claim that animals don't experience true love, but observing Leo lay his massive head, so, with caution on Ruby's back, or upon observing Ruby cuddle up to her lion son with confidence, who is now 10 times her size, which is affection in its most basic form, they don't give a damn. They appear different, or so nature claims. They ought to be terrified of one another. Just be aware that their family's years have gone by. After that terrifying evening when a sobbing lion cub was discovered by itself in the dark, the same cub is currently among the most exquisite lions you'll ever see. However, he still feels like Ruby's kid in his heart, and as their story demonstrates, she is still his mother. That occasionally the most exquisite families are the unexpected ones. You are aware of the amazing bond between Leo and Ruby. Touches people's hearts every day at the shelter if you were moved by their tale. Hit that like and don't keep it to yourself button and forward it to a person who requires a smile today. Sign up to join us for more incredible animal companionship tales that demonstrate that love is blind limits. And please leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts on what you believe makes Ruby and how unique Leo's relationship is.